Karens and jerks on a cruise ship. Hello, this is Cotton Eye Darren, also known as Just Darren, and I'm going to talk today about Karens on a cruise ship, or jerks. We used to call them jerks. Now you kind of call them Karens in this new era, I guess. The COVID thing had brought out a lot of Karens, but you're not very likely to run into a Karen on a cruise ship. People who are Karens leave their Karenness at home, or Karens are just not into cruising. I don't know, but I haven't really ran into too many. So today I'm going to talk about that. So by now, most of us already know what a Karen is, a jerk, someone being a jerk behavior, and cruise ships are not immune to that. When you first board a cruise, you're entering a new community, and for the most part, it's probably one of the best communities you've ever been a part of. Most people, 98% of people on that cruise are just decent people that you just get along with. But some people are introverted and some people are extroverted, and it works out for both, to be honest with you. There are parts of the cruise ship that are crowded, and there are parts of the cruise ship that you're only a few handful of people scattered around, and you can just relax there. It's something for everybody in a lot of ways. Old, young, black, white, and a lot of black people on cruises nowadays, I've noticed. And if you have racial ideas or racial thoughts, keep them to yourself. I haven't heard or seen any racial incidents on a ship, but black people have just as much right to enjoy a cruise as you do. So one of the first things I'll say, and probably one of the things, jerk-like behavior or Karen-like behavior that I've noticed on cruise ships is people who cut in lines, or rush the elevator, or rush the dining room. On your first night, you have assigned seating if you ride on Carnival, and on some of the other cruise ships, it's not assigned seating, so you probably see it every time. But you got a specific time that they open the doors and people get there a little bit early, and then pretty soon a crowd erupts. Once you have assigned seating, it doesn't matter. The people who are in a hurry to get in there, they can go ahead and get in there because I know where I'm going to sit, so I'm worried about it. And when you first day when you're getting on, there's more people getting on the elevators than any other time. But there are different times of day, especially like dining room time, where the elevators are going to be a little more packed. And there are different banks of elevators. Maybe one bank of elevators will be packed and the other one isn't, and you just pick the wrong one that time. Oftentimes you'll be waiting for an elevator. You see the numbers. When's it going to come down on my floor? And as soon as it comes down there, it dings, and then you get some young people just rush in there and fill the elevator up. So now you got to wait for the next elevator, and that kind of sucks. And I'm going to go into another part is people who have mobility problems. They're the ones who get screwed over the most on this. people with disabilities, they do get assistance getting on the ship and getting off the ship. But once they're on the ship, they're pretty much left to themselves. Their family can help them. And oftentimes they have trouble getting on the elevator when people are in a hurry and they rush to the elevator when this disabled person's been sitting there waiting longer. and and there's elevators on each side of the hall and they can't just get over to the other side of the hall, one side to the other so quickly. Be mindful of them, help them out, help people out with disabilities so they can enjoy the cruise just as much as you have. And that also includes people with walkers and elderly people and even people who've had an injury with crutches. If you got to go up just a couple flights, walk up the stairs instead, or walk down the stairs, because there's usually a set of stairs right next to the elevator. Now, if you smoke, you can enjoy a cruise just like everybody else, but they have specific designated areas. They have fans and everything else to control the smells and the smoke. And so, if you smoke, learn where those places are. And those are the only places you're allowed to smoke on the ship. Now, a lot of ships allow smoking in the casino, maybe certain parts of the casino, not all the casino. Sometimes just at the casino bar, and sometimes they do allow it at the slot machines, but not at the tables. So be mindful of that and learn those rules. Vaping is also another thing that goes on in the cruise ships. And vaping has to be done in the smoking area as well. And I've had experience with vapors not smoking, not doing their thing in the smoking area. I was on a cruise one time where we were on the main, which was one of the lowest decks, and had to go all the way up to the Lido deck. And somebody who's vaping got on the elevator with me and continued to vape even on the elevator. Didn't even ask for if I minded or anything. It was one of the glass elevators, which was kind of ridiculous. And what was ever in that person's vape was it smelled like armpits. It was just nasty, and I had to smell that all the way up. And another thing that I haven't experienced anybody doing, but other people I know have, is people who smoke on their balcony. Smoking's not allowed on the balcony. I don't think vaping is either, but I haven't had a problem with that on the balconies. I mean, it's the middle of the night, nobody's around. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you what you can and can't do. But, the smoke will loft over into the next person's balcony, up above you or below you or beside you, or a couple balconies down, and you're going to have to deal with that and smell that. And some people have allergies to smoking, and some people, like me, my eyes water when I'm around cigarette smoke, and I have trouble. My throat gets sore. I'm a former smoker, but I haven't smoked in 21 years. But it does bother me, and I'm a little reluctant to get someone in trouble. It's better just to confront that person, just holler out, "Hey, please don't smoke out here," something like that. Maybe they're not aware that other people are smelling it, because if someone gets caught smoking on their balcony, they could be let off at the next place the ship stops off. If you're going to Jamaica and then you're stuck in Jamaica because they're not going to let you back on the ship, that could happen, and it has happened. So just don't do it. That's my recommendation. Go to the smoking area, put on your robe and flip-flops and head down there and smoke that cigarette if you have to smoke it. I can understand you get those nicotine fits, but be mindful of other guests. People are all trying to enjoy their cruise just like you are, and it's not worth doing. I got a list here, and asked my wife what annoyed her on a cruise ship, and she said shorts too tight. On our first cruise, there was this guy that would walk around, and there was nothing left of imagination. He had these shorts that were so tight you could see his junk. I didn't care, but my wife, I guess she didn't like seeing that. I don't know, but maybe be a little more modest. I don't know. I wouldn't say that that's a problem with me, but it might be a problem with other people. I don't care. I worked on a college campus for 10 years. There's nothing that my eyes haven't seen. But some people might find that offensive. I don't think that's really a caring thing to do. Even so much as jerk things. People like to wear what they want to wear. So, but maybe people don't want to see your junk, I guess. One place you do see behaviors at the elevators. There are people who don't care how long you've been waiting. They're going to get there. They're going to get on the elevator, regardless if they have to cut in front of you. Anything but pushing people down to get there. I mean, but be mindful of the elevators. They've got several elevators. They're constantly moving. You're not going to be waiting that long. Let the people who've been waiting longer than you, who are there at the elevator lobby area before you, let them get on the next elevator. Unless it's one going up and they're going down. When one comes, they say, "You going up?" "No, I'm going down." "Okay, I'll take the up elevator." But just be mindful, especially if elderly people, as I said before, and other things like that. The elevators seem to be the place where I think people act the worst sometimes, is in the elevators. The elevator is definitely not a place you need to be vaping. It's also, people put on perfume or cologne. Guys put on cologne. I haven't really ran into this, but I've talked to other people who cruise a lot, and they said that was one thing that bothered them, was they get on the elevator and some woman decides to spray on cologne in the elevator, and then they have to breathe that. That does bother some people. I've worked around chemicals my life, so that doesn't bother me. I guess there's certain things that bother some people, and some people might even allergies to it, and can't help it if you have gobs of make cologne or aftershave lotion or perfume, and that you get those people. I haven't seen anybody get on the elevator with really bad BO. You have a shower in your room. I shower every single day on my cruise, sometimes twice a day. Sometimes if I go to the gym, although I haven't, last couple cruises, I haven't gone to the gym. But sometimes, you shower there too. So, there's no reason not to shower on a cruise. So I really don't think that's an issue. There is an issue with people putting their perfume on the ship. Do that in your room before you go. That's what I would think common sense says. Some people are in such a hurry, they're putting their makeup on in the mirrors on the elevator. It's like, okay, that's what you do, but just be mindful of other people, and people don't want a big wolf of your spray when you're spraying yourself with the scent. And now down to noisy neighbors and disruptive kids. I'm going to put that in the same category together. Now, the last cruise we did have some neighbors, but they weren't noisy all the time. And they were the ones that gave me that video footage that I used. They were very nice people. My wife talked to them about their kids making a lot of noise in the room, and they probably weren't there. There's places for the kids. So the cruise, most times your kids are away. You don't even know they're there. They're doing they make the cruise just as fun for kids. And families take cruises. People have multiple kids, and a cruise is a great time for those. There's people like me and my wife. We don't have any kids. Our kids are grown. And there's a lot of elderly people. They don't have kids. They may have grandkids. I don't have any grandkids now. I wish I did. My brother already has 2 grandkids. I don't have any. But anyway, but you got to be mindful. Kids can tend to be noisy, and you got to keep your kids a little bit under control on the cruise. I've heard of couples fighting and on cruises. Anything that you make, loud noises you make in your room, can be heard in the next room on both sides. Okay, those walls are not real thick, and so you have to be mindful of your neighbors, and sometimes act jerk-like behavior when the whole cruise are like that. I didn't experience that. Those people were noisy the first day, and you pretty much didn't hear them a few times during the cruise. The kids were asleep. I go to sleep early. I'm a 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock go to sleep guy. So I don't want people making a bunch of noise. So when I'm trying to fall asleep, so just be aware of that. Be good neighbors. Don't use your room to make a lot of loud noise. To be honest with you, you don't need to. There's plenty of places to make noise on the cruise ship. Some of the bars and other places out in the pool area, you can scream and yell all you want. Maybe not in the Serenity deck. That's another place that kids can be annoying. There's an area, Serenity deck, you have to be 18. They should change it to 21, an older area where Carnival has this on most of their ships, and it's a nice secluded area. You got to get there early if you want a good place to sit, though, because they get taken up real quick. It's very popular amongst young people that are like in the early 20s because they, finally makes them feel like they're an adult now because they go there. But it's for everybody who's over 18. And although some kids go back there, they don't read the signs. Their parents aren't nowhere around. You got kids running around there sometimes, and that can really annoy people. People can be really annoyed by that. Usually, staff member, once they are alerted to it, they'll escort the person out of there. But the Serenity Deck is there for its very name as a serenity area, where you don't have to worry about kid noises. If that bothers you by the pool and all that, noisy place on the ship. This is supposed to be a quiet place where you can read a book and soak up the sun and take a nap and whatever else you want to do. And so parents, be mindful of your kids. Don't be jerks and let your kids annoy everybody on the cruise. They normally don't. Kids are wonderful, but they can be that way. Another thing, politics and religion. That's the most divisive thing in America right now. I mean, there are people who love Trump, and there are people who think Biden is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Whichever side of the aisle you're on, or you're in some different aisle like me, I'm a libertarian, so I didn't like Trump or Biden. But leave that stuff at home. You're on vacation from that stuff too, okay? You might find out that someone who has a lot in common with you and you enjoy hanging out with while you're on the cruise might be someone politically totally polar opposite of you. You might be a Biden supporter, lifelong Democrat, and find out that this person who, you enjoyed the cruise together, they were on your excursion, you met them during your excursion, you find out you like the same football teams and everything else, and you don't even need to know that they're actually a Trump supporter. That they got the MAGA hat at home. Don't take your political stuff with you. Don't take your MAGA hat or your, whatever, your Biden T-shirt. Don't take that stuff on the cruise with you. Religion, wear your cross or whatever, which identify your yarmulke if you're Jewish. Nothing wrong with that. But telling people your religious views, it's wrong to do. That's a sin to do that. Don't be doing that. I don't think anybody does, but don't do that shit. Don't talk religion on the ship. I know your religion is part of your life, and it's part of who you are in some cases, but be mindful that the cruise is full of all kinds of people from all over the country with all kinds of religious and ethnic backgrounds, and you don't need to do that in the mix. Now, if you want everybody to hate you on the cruise, do this. There's a lot of people that get their towels and they'll get their stuff and they'll get their chairs. Sometimes they're the best chairs, the ones right next to the pool, or good balcony corner like this or something. Premium spot that everybody wants, and they will take that spot and they will. You can tell this one's an old one because none of the cruise ships have these kind of chairs anymore. But taking up seats and then be gone all day. There's always, in every cruise I've gone to, I've noticed that there's seats. I'll go by several times going back and forth to other places on the cruise and still see nobody sitting in these seats. People off doing something at spa, or they're doing something they want to save this for all day. This is their place. They took it over and nobody else can use this spot. And that's wrong. And, sometimes the staff will take care of it. They see it abandoned for a certain amount of time. They will go and take everything up and put it in a grocery bag until they get back and give it to them. Or they have to go to Lost and Found and get their stuff. Because it isn't right for people to do this. If you're not using the seats, don't stay there. If you're going to the buffet to get food and bring it back, then have 2 people go and then the other 2 go. It's usually a group of 4 or 5 or 6 people that do this. It's usually a family, and they save their spot, and that's the most caringest thing that I've seen on the ships, is when people do this. They just take over a part of the ship. They get there real early in the morning before breakfast. They block off their spot. They may sit there for 2 or 3 hours during the day, and then but they leave it all day long like this. And you know that's just jerk Karen behavior, if you ask me. Don't do it. And if you see it there for more than an hour, alert the staff and say, hey, these chairs have been like this for an hour. You know, don't do it if they've only been there for like 20 minutes. Give them at least an hour to come back. If they don't come back in an hour, that shouldn't be their seats anymore. And the other thing is in the theaters. In the theaters or the outdoor movies or the comedy club, people will save for a whole family. They'll send one family member to go save a spot for the rest of the family, and then they usually, like in the theater or the comedy show, they come in late, and then they're trying to get in their seats, and it's not really fair to the person who has to hold all those seats, and it's not fair to the rest of the people. If you're saving it for your wife, 1 or 2 spots I could see. Any more than that, no. You all need to get there at the same time then. It's not fair to the other guests. Everybody comes in, they're looking for a seat before the show starts, and everybody wants to sit down and be quiet, and here comes this group of people, this whole gaggle of family coming in to get the seat that their 15-year-old son had to save for them. The group, I've seen people do it up to 10 seats or even almost an entire row of seats in the theater before. And people don't like that. It's rude. It's insensitive to other people. If you come in late, you got to sit in the back, really, because you don't want to be scooting your way in front of someone in the middle of a show they're watching, trying to enjoy. It's get there on time, especially the shows or the comedy shows, and get there before it starts. Get your drink. They have people serving drinks at those shows, so you don't have to go up and get a drink. Just get there on time. And if you're all going to get there late, sit in the back. And if there's no seats left, well, you should have got there earlier. And that's all I got to say about that. That's just rude behavior. That's Karen-like behavior, and that's definitely being a jerk to everybody else on the cruise. Fighting on a cruise. I've never seen kids fight on a cruise, but I'm sure they do. Me and my brother used to fight like dogs when we were younger. But this is from a YouTube video. I've seen it. Probably some of you have seen it. I've never seen a fight actually break out on cruises, but they do happen. If you can't control your liquor, if you're one of the guys that become a total asshole when you drink, maybe you shouldn't drink. They do have AA meetings on the ship. So they call Friends of Bill W. meetings, probably two a day on a ship. Go to one of those if you're someone who can't control your behavior when you're drinking, and someone makes a comment at your wife, that's inappropriate, and that's Karen-like behavior as well. But you don't need to kick that person's ass on a ship, okay? You can get kicked off a ship. Pretty much these people in this picture probably got booted off the ship. Avoid fights. It's not a place to get into a brawl. It's a small little community, and security be all over on your ass. And a lot of these security guards come from Asian countries and know martial arts, and I wouldn't mess with them. Besides, it's a place to have fun. You're not having fun if you're in a fight, okay? There's nothing that happens on a ship that's worth fighting over. I just can't fathom people getting in fights on a ship. The ship's big enough. If that person bothers you, go somewhere else. If that person's being annoying at that bar, go to another bar. I know I like to hang out at one particular bar, but if it came down to it, I'd just go somewhere else and come back another time when that person's not there. I've never had a problem with anybody on a cruise ship, especially wanting to ever fight anybody. There has been people that kind of piss me off a little bit, but I go somewhere else, and you might not even see them again on the ship, or maybe they were in a bad mood that day and they're better now. But there's nothing that happens on the ship that's worth fighting. And the liquid courage, you need to pace yourself drinking anywhere in a cruise. I like to just maintain a buzz, and that's what you really don't try to get snockered drunk. And especially if you're someone who has to get into a fight or have to be carried down to your room by your friends because you're puking. I heard that's happened before. I haven't seen a lot of these bad behaviors. I've never seen a fight start in a ship, but there are videos out there. Just you know, putting the bar up there, the search bar, a fight on a cruise ship, and you'll find videos. There's two families that went after each other one time on a cruise ship. And it's ridiculous. It's not a place for that. And if you get in a fight on a cruise, I hope they kick your ass off. That's all I've got to say about that. Just don't do it. The most important thing is the cruise is for you. You put a lot of money into a cruise to have a good time, but so did all the other guests. So just be mindful of other people, and have a good time. You know, everybody's out there to have a good time. You know, and just don't be too loud in your rooms, up and down the hallways too, because I didn't mention that. But you know, when kids are running up and down the halls, you're going to hear it in your room. You know, but luckily I got a balcony. Just go sit out the balcony if they're being noisy in the hall. There are kids that run up, and I know my kids would be probably one of the ones doing that. If they were younger, we took them on a cruise. My kids would probably be the ones running up and down the hall making noise. Because they see these long hallways, they'd be wanting to book their way down that hallway. I guarantee you. They did that in the grocery store. They would definitely have done it on a cruise ship. So I understand. Sometimes you got to be, okay, they're just kids. Kids do what kids do. But parents, you know, just be mindful of your kids, and because they could be being a buzzkill for someone else's joy. You know what I'm saying? And just be mindful of other people. I'm kind of on the cusp of being introverted and extroverted. I took the Myers-Briggs test, and it put me almost right on the middle. So I'm a fence sitter when it comes to extroversion or introversion, really. I can come up and talk to people, but there are times when I like to be by myself or just with my wife and relax. And that's something you can do on a cruise. There's plenty of opportunities for that, and there's plenty of opportunities to mingle with people if that's what you like to do. Just be mindful of other people. They don't all like the same football team you do. You know, I was there during the Georgia-Alabama game, and, you know, there was Georgia fans, Alabama fans, and I sympathize with both, living in Georgia for 10 years and now living in Alabama. I'm now an Alabama fan. But if you ask me this time last year, I hated Alabama. And now they're my team. So, you know, but I'm a Bronco fan. I have nothing to cheer about this year for the Broncos. They finished last. But you know, people get fights over football. You know, it's ridiculous. You're out there to have a good time. I'm out there to have a good time. I like going to Mexico and visiting the ruins. That's my thing. Not everybody likes that. You know, whatever you like, you do. Nothing more I can say about that. You know, some people don't drink at all. Some people drink. Some people, you know, like steak, and some people are vegans. But there's something for everybody on a cruise. There's no reason why you can enjoy it.